Hello everybody, welcome to another lesson of Chess Club's third in this series of lessons about chess, just teaching you how to play the game, what the rules are, and a few little tips to help you get better and improve. So last week we focused on attacking, so thinking about, for example, having our pieces like this, and understanding that our pieces, for example, if I have my bishop here, he can move diagonally and he will take the rook. Or if I have my rook here, and there's a couple of pawns here, understanding that, yeah, the rook could take that pawn, but this pawn will then take the knight. So attacking is a really important part of chess. But today we're going to think about the most important piece on the board, and that is the king. So the king is the way that you win chess, by attacking the king. And I'm going to teach you today something called check and checkmate. And you'll all have heard of checkmate. Checkmate is how you win. So if you imagine that I've got some pieces here, I talked about this last week, attacking. So if I have my rook, my castle here, and if I move my rook here, and he's in that position, then this rook is attacking this pawn, and that's fine. Then my opponent's got a choice. He can either try and defend the pawn, or just let it be taken on the next turn. And if it's the rook's turn, he can move, and he can take. The king, though, is different, because you don't take the king, you've got to put the king into check. So if I have my rook here, I'm going to move this king out of the way for now so there's no confusion. If my rook is here, now if he's on that square, the line of attack is up there. So I am now attacking the king. If you were allowed to do this on my next turn, I could take the king, and that is called a check. You can't actually take the king, you're not actually allowed to do that. But putting the king in a position where it would be taken, where it's under attack, is called check. So let's add some more pieces to the board. Let's say there's some pawns here. Move that one out of the way for now. Some pawns there. And let's give white a few more pieces as well. So let's say this is the situation. So my rook's here. Put the pawn there. And like I said, if I move my rook here, he's now in a position where he's attacking the king. That is called check. And you'll hear the click sound normally when you play if you were in check. Now king now cannot move the pawn. Cannot move the pawn. Cannot move the bishop. Even this lovely move here, which would be to take, cannot do that because the king is in check. And it wouldn't be allowed if you did. If you were allowed to take that, and the next move I could take the king, can't do that. So if the king is in check, you have to move the king. You have no choice. You have to either move the king or block the piece from being that is attacking. And I'll show you that in a second. So if it's white's turn, and I go, so it was white's turn, I get my rook back, and I move here, that's check, because I'm attacking, so the king now moves, it's no longer check, because now the rook is no longer attacking the knight. There's other options as well. Let's say, I'm white, and I move my rook here. Now the king is under attack, again that is check. But, so I could move my king, or I can move my bishop to here, because now the bishop is blocking the rook. The rook can't jump over the head of the bishop, so it's no longer check because it's no longer being attacked. Also, I can't take this piece because I could take it, but if I take it, then the pawn is going to take me. I would be in danger. So that's actually quite a good move for black. So that's check. And what about checkmate? Well, checkmate is when your piece is in check, but there's nowhere for it to move. And I'll show you an example. I'm going to give you first. We'll maybe do the most common form of checkmate, and then perhaps next week I'll talk about some more checkmates. It's going to make this video too long. So one of the most common forms of checkmate is called a laddermate, and it works like this. When I have perhaps a queen or a rook, but it works with two rooks or two queens just as well, and I'm constantly putting the king into check until it gets stuck. And I would do something like this. So check. Now, king has to move, but the king cannot move here, because it would be in check. It'd be under attack by the rook, so it has to move here. Then I move my rook to here. Again, I'm in check. Can't move here, because I'd still be within the line of the king, of the rook. So I cannot move there. Can't come back here, because the queen is attacking there. So I have to move there. Then, queen comes here. Check again. King is under attack by the queen. But again, can't come back, because the rook is attacking this line, and I cannot go anywhere here or here because of the queen, so I have to move here. And then finally here, that is checkmate. Hopefully you can see why that's checkmate. was checkmate because I cannot move my king anywhere. That would still be check, because the rook would still be attacking me. That would still be check, the queen's attacking me. That's check, queen's attacking me. That's check, queen's attacking me. That's check, the rook is attacking me. So that is checkmate. So next week, I'll go over some different kinds of checkmate, but that is one of the most common forms of laddermate, one of the most common ways of putting somebody into checkmate. Okay, so hope you're enjoying the video. Hope you've learned something. Please reply on Seesaw, since some people are taking photos of the games, which is great, or writing little comments, let me know you've watched it, let me know you're enjoying it. See if you can play against the computer and get a checkmate yourself. All right, so that's the lesson over for today. Let me know how you get on. Bye, everybody.